Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1011. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in the last place on earth in Podcastro Valley 10. And today it's the return of the much-loved news segment, News Random, with interesting news stories you didn't know. You will know after this show, though. Plus, we hear from Benita, the disgruntled fiddle player, and
Mike's Daily Podcast,
the brewmaster. It is raining on us here at Cafe Anyway. Get your umbrella.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And open it up inside Cafe Anyway, because that's good luck here. Oddly enough. Today, Basil and I took a little tour around Podcastro Valley. We took a little tour, and I can say for sure, even on a Sunday morning, there are things both popular and obscure that you will see, and walking is free, and it is a cure for boredom and bad health.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I spoke to a girl with piercing blue eyes and a wealth
Mike's
of interesting things
Daily
to tell me.
Podcast.
I will tell you these things on today's show. That's what this podcast is all about. Me hearing stories and telling them to you. In an Ira Glass sort of way. In 3 acts. The first act, Mike talks and sings. Second act, a door opens. Well, not right now, but in about a minute. Act 3, he does the news random thing. That's what it is. So I have my little note piece of paper with interesting topics and ridiculous random posts. Yes, this ridiculous random post was actually written down here for me by none other than Haley from the Daily Haley. Haley's not on today's show, though. But Daily Haley wrote to me and said, talk about dogs wearing shoes, okay? Let's see. This is my topic, so here I go. Dogs wearing shoes. Dogs must wear shoes when camping. It's true. And walking on very hard rocks and granite, they are asked to wear shoes because otherwise it cuts up their paws while they're walking on these rocks. I don't get up to the mountains as much as that with Basil, so I do not have shoes for my dog. Look who just walked in! I told you someone was going to walk in. Hi, Mike! It's Benita the Rodeo Queen! How y'all doing?
And to disgruntled fiddle player, tell you what.
What?
Trump 2016.
You know, you realize you're saying Trump 2016.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. Tell you what.
What?
That's what I'm saying.
Right, but this is 2016, so you're saying Trump for this year.
That's right. Oh my God. I see the error of my ways. Do I really want a guy who runs a TV show and fires the TV show and he's an egomaniac running the country like that? You may be right. I may be crazy.
Why don't you go back to Rand Cruiser?
Yeah, Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, I love them.
Even though Trump calls Ted Cruz a crazy, nasty man.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Let's stop talking politics. This is depressing me.
It's a depressing topic. I'd like to do my movie review for you right now, if I may.
Go for it.
All right, here we go. My useless review.
Mike's absolutely useless review.
I finally saw Spectre. What, that movie's been out like 12 years and I finally saw it? Yes. I watched it last night. I have to tell you a couple of things about this. I don't know if you've seen this movie. I am not giving this a 10 or anything. I don't rate movies. Oh, look who else just walked in.
Hello, Mike. I make the root beer. I'm the brewmaster. Oh, boy.
You just interrupted me in the middle of my movie review.
But you said it was useless.
You're right.
Spectre was a magnificent movie. It was a tour de force. Oh, boy.
That's your movie review of it?
Yeah. Ah, root beer.
You're crazy.
Vote for me. I'm Donald Trump 2016.
Okay, see, now I would vote for the brewmaster if his name was Trump and he was running this year.
All right, that makes no sense.
I just what you asked.
No, I didn't. I didn't ask anything. I was trying to do my movie review.
Movies are funny. Oh boy, Drink my root beer, or I'll cut you.
All right, let me just review the opening scene with the Dia de los Muertos thing, where they're in Mexico City and there's all the people and they're all it's scary. You're trying to cut me, Brewmaster.
Yeah, okay. Go on about the skeletons.
The skeleton people and all that, and then there's he shoots someone in another building and it blows up the room somehow, and then the whole building collapses and almost takes him with it and takes his building down. That scene was awesome. I noticed though that Spectre, the latest James Bond, is very paint by numbers. It's sort of like, okay, doo-doo-doo, let's finish this painting. What do we need? We need a villain, evil villain. Is Christoph Waltz available? Okay, let's get him. How about the guy who plays the villain on Sherlock? Is he available? Okay, cool. We got that. We need a girl, really pretty blonde. Is that girl from Ghost Protocol available? And she's been in a bunch of other foreign movies? And she's French? She's available? Okay. Do you think the general movie-buying public is going to buy a relationship between a 47-year-old Daniel Craig and a 30-year-old blonde French girl, even though she looks more like she's 18? They're going to buy that? Okay, great. What else do we need? We need a lot of explosions. We got that. Check. All right. And on and on and on. I did like a couple of things I liked about this movie. Most James Bond movies, and I was bracing for it the whole time, and it never happened. Oh, by the way, there's going to be some spoilers. Okay, now that we got that out of the way. For some reason, in this James Bond, I was very pleased not to see any women get killed. Usually, whoever James beds ends up dead the next scene. In fact, they talk about Christoph Waltz's villain mentions that, you know, why is it anytime James Bond is with a woman, she dies? It's because of me. Oh yeah, and he's a recreation of a former famous Sean Connery heyday James Bond villain by the name of Blofeld, who was bald in the original movies but had the big scar on the face, and that's what Dr. Evil was modeled after. And $1 million later, we have now Christoph Waltz being the Blofeld character, and he doesn't die at the end, so he may come back in a future movie. But it was, however, another change from other James Bond movies. This one actually had a happy ending for once. The Daniel Craig movies seem to all end on sad notes. So this had a happy note, happy ending. So I guess not completely the same sort of James Bond film. But, oh, and the other thing I liked about this movie is that the director, I don't know who it was. I didn't do my research. Sorry. I don't have much time to do this podcast today, so I had to kind of rush into this. But the scenes are huge. Like in the Dia de los Muertos Day, and that whole scene in the beginning, he runs into a huge square and then has to get the villain who's trying to escape in a helicopter. There's other big scene rooms, like there's the Christoph Waltz and a bunch of the villains, people, henchmen. I don't know what was going on, but they're in this big conference room with a huge table, and it's big, and he's up like in the balcony section, and there was another scene, just like it's really well shot. Like the funeral, it's really big, long, cavernous areas of this church that they're at. You can't see me right now. My hands are flailing around to try to express how big the bigness is of these scenes. Huge. The big scene where that building that the guy from Sherlock, the villain from Sherlock, creates. This huge building. It's huge and big and like there's just a lot of like architectural marvels in this movie. The director liked architecture or something, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, there you go. Go see that. All right. We don't have much time today on today's show, so let's zip through the rest of this here. Another thing you should check out, another absolutely useless review, is of the podcast Backstory. They're doing a thing about passing for black in America and the history of that, and passing for another race that you may not be, and how that's been going on in history for a long time. Like this one guy who he He claimed he was white, but he was really black, but he was living in upper New York society and had a...
Into an interview.
Ignore that. We have an Into an Interview tomorrow, or the next show, if that happens to be tomorrow, we shall see, with Kai Alfred Hillig, the singer-songwriter from Seattle, Washington. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. He's got a new album. We're going to hear new cuts from it before anybody else does. You and I will. So that's an Into an Interview tomorrow. And check out backstory with these interesting passing for other races, historical figures throughout history in America. It's fascinating. Then Netflix is going to have a bunch of stuff starting here. I have it bookmarked here. Yes, Jessica Jones is coming back. A new show called Black Mirror. They've also got Orange is the New Black coming out. Flaked is a new show that's got Will Arnett. There is also The Ranch is a new show. Lost and Found Music Studios. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt is coming back for a second installment. All this happening from now through April. These Kong King of Apes is being released, and one called Marcel. Okay, wow, bunch of new stuff. There we go. I wanted to get that out of the way. And also, really quickly, the woman that I ran into at the Pet Food Express today in Podcastro Valley, Basil the Boxer and I were walking around downtown Podcastro Valley, and this lady and I start to talk. This girl who has these piercing blue eyes and braided hair, and I'm wearing a Boston shirt, and she goes, "Oh, are you from Boston?" And I said, "No, I want to go though someday." And she said, "I'm from there originally." And she says, I say to her, "Why are you here in Podcastro Valley?" And she said, "Well, I actually moved from Boston to San Francisco because she loves big cities and she wants to live in San Francisco." And she said there's more going on in San Francisco than there is in Boston. And then somehow, she was at Burning Man. She met a model, a female model, and they became good friends over Facebook. And so then this model says, "Hey, I'm part of a group called the Dance-tronauts, and we're a bunch of girls that dance. We get paid to dance." Okay, that doesn't sound sketchy. For all kinds of different events and whatnot. Like, they'll pay for us to dance, and we do, like, the go-go boots and all that stuff. And they're paid to be on this cruise ship that's leaving from Miami tonight. So she's going to that, she told me, tonight. And she's going to be partying with these models on this. Does this sound ab-fabby enough for you? And that's going on. So she's leaving rainy Northern California and going out to Miami today to do that. Fascinating. What a life. She said, "All my friends in Boston are married and having kids, and I don't want to do that. I want to be where the action is at." And me and 15 other people were living in an apartment in San Francisco, and we got kicked out. So now I'm living with a friend in Podcastro Valley. You meet the most interesting people walking a dog, I swear. Oh, and then we also ran into the Mr. Pickles mascot, and that's what the podcast picture is for today. Oh, I got a little ahead of myself. And finally, I wanted to mention the strange names. I've mentioned it before, and it's often a joke. I've heard other people do, but it is hilarious. I listen to NPR's hourly podcast that they do at the top of the hour. It's like their 5-minute newscast. World news going on, and NPR does a great job with that. But the names of the reporters and the anchors are hilarious on NPR. Neda Ulaby, she handles all their entertainment. Whenever anybody in entertainment dies, she does like a profile on them. Octavia Kastartan from Dakar. She covers all the African news in South Africa. And then there's Lakshmi Singh. She's one of the anchors I hear all the time. And finally, who can forget, Cynthia Pajoli covers all the Vatican stuff and the Italy news. Love those names. Lakshmi Singh, Netta Ulabi, Octavia Costarton, Cynthia Pajoli. See, that's why I could never work for NPR. My name is boring. Mike Matthews. Bleh.
Mike, what was that?
That was me making a snoring noise.
Oh, okay. I'll cut you.
For making a snoring noise?
What? No, I'm violent. Oh, boy.
Mike, I'm gonna back away slowly from the brewmaster. Bye, bye. I never get to say anything on the show anymore. All right, there she goes. So check out the website, mikesdailypodcast.com, with all kinds of interesting things on it for you to enjoy. And there's the wonderful podcast pictures that I've done, past interviews I've got, also the cassette cubbyhole where I talk to a lot of interesting country music singers I spoke to in the 90s and early O's, and I've posted those on the cassette cubbyhole. And there's links to where to listen to the show in all kinds of different places. And if you listen to us on iTunes, make sure to rate this show, because then more people find out about us and we don't languish in obscurity as much. There's also the Amazon link. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, go through that link at mikesdailypodcast.com, and that helps us out. Plus, there's the PayPal. If you want to donate and become an inglorious Mike's Daily Podcaster, you can do that through mikesdailypodcast.com. We're all over the place on social media, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Links to all of those at mikesdailypodcast.com. And now, News Random.
News Random.
Well, it appears that Star Wars has finally been knocked out of number one. It's been number one for 3 years now. And now The Force Awakens has been knocked out by Ride Along 2 with Ice Cube, the beautiful Olivia Munn, and Kevin Hart, the cop comedy. You know, Ice Cube and Kevin Hart have been on Conan O'Brien's show a whole bunch, and it's always hilarious because Conan is so white, and they totally make fun of that. Anyway, it's great to see Star Wars get bumped out finally. So this buddy cop comedy pulled in an estimated 12 million? Wait, no. That's not right. An estimated 4-day gross of $39.5 million from 3,175 theaters. Okay. That's great. I guess I just thought I would share that with you because you've just now seen the 4-week. And you know, it's interesting that Star Wars The Force Awakens was only at number one for 4 weeks. It just says 4 weeks atop box office charts. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's good. It still is like the biggest movie of all time, but still, I would have thought it was going to be number one for at least a whole nother month, maybe 2 or 3 months, but whatever. Good job, Ice Cube and Olivia Munn. Olivia Munn, there's nothing mundane about Olivia Munn and Kevin Hart. Okay, on to something else.
I take up 7 rows because I'm fat, fat, fat. Really fat.
Weight loss! Sorry, I didn't mean to scream that. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to mention. Construction workers. Anybody doing construction has, I guess, they have carte blanche to yell as loud as they want at any time. So I want to become a construction worker. Hey, Bill, I got that hammer you want. Tom, stop yelling at me. No, have you noticed that construction workers yell all the time? And it always seems to be guys. I'd like women to become construction workers so I can hear them yelling at each other. I'm not going to try and imitate what that would sound like, but that's something I noticed. And so if you ever feel like you want to be able to yell in public, become a construction worker. Or just work. You can even do, your own DIY stuff around the house. And when you go outside, as long as you got all the tool belts and you're dressed in Home Depot orange and you're walking around, you can still yell at the top of your lungs. Okay, on to weight loss. And an interesting thing that happened recently in Texas. Several Texas chiropractors, including one in the Austin area, have become franchise owners of a Pennsylvania-based weight loss program. Now, a lot of people are going nuts about weight loss. They always tend to do that at the beginning of the year. Everybody gets through the holidays. They've eaten so much bad stuff, so much stuff that was taken to work, all the cakes and everything. And, of course, the family gatherings, all the stuffing and mashed potatoes and whatnot, and drinking eggnog. And now they're trying to lose weight. Well, these Texas chiropractors trying to become franchise owners